Welcome back to America Right Now. I'm Tom Basile. Yeah, I know we're here at CPAC, but you know, Republicans are kind of starting to sound like a bit of a broken record, or in more modern parlance, a corrupted music file. Speeches, interviews, social media screeds, and advertising all seem to be harping on the same mantra about the state of the nation, but to one measure or another, they're all missing the bigger point. Republicans and conservatives continue to tell the public a lot of things that they already know. Now, that's not necessarily a winning strategy, even if the majority of Americans believe the country is heading in the wrong direction. Agreement on issues in politics doesn't automatically translate into support. For instance, here are 5 topics the public has made up their minds about already, but Republicans continue to spend precious time restating the problem as if the nation needed convincing. First, Joe Biden's mental capacity is diminished to the point he should not serve a second term. Some 80% of us in recent polling believe Mr. Biden is some combination of woefully debilitated, uninspiring, weak, and unfit to serve a second term in office. It is a staggering number. Americans don't need convincing of this point, and calling for cognitive tests is a publicity stunt. Number 2, Hunter Biden leveraged his father's position to make money. Yes, people get this. Republicans got off message quickly when it came to Biden. The focus of the story has far too often been framed by the soap opera of sex and drugs and guns of an obviously damaged person, when it should have been much more about how the Biden family business was selling influence for decades. Either way, Americans realize Hunter Biden is a mess. Number 3, Joe Biden intentionally utilized his office to enrich his family members. Public polling also suggests that the majority of Americans are smart enough to appreciate that in some fashion, legal or otherwise, Joe Biden used his position in Washington to make business deals. What will Republicans really do to drain the swamp? No one knows. Number 4, the open border is a major concern, and the Biden administration is not controlling it. Folks, we have never seen numbers like this on immigration. According to Pew Research, a whopping 78% of Americans see the open border as either a crisis or a major problem. Members of Congress talking about H.R. 2 is a waste of time. They need to articulate what that plan will actually mean.
The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal initially called my plan Bidenomics. I'm not sure they meant it in a totally complimentary way at the time. But guess what? It's working.
Yeah, but not really. Number 5, the Inflation Reduction Act was an excuse to grow government, not put money in the pockets of hardworking Americans. Trillions were spent, government got bigger, and the middle class shrank under Biden. Americans feel it, and they see it. Look, Americans are smarter than the politicians and the media think they are. They feel the symptoms, but the issue is many still don't understand the disease. Joe Biden is a sideshow to the larger threats to American freedom from the far left that now controls him and the Democratic Party. Now, whether he's the nominee or not, the infiltration and the operational control by socialists of every major American institution will remain until we resolve to win that ideological battle. Instead of talking about issues where Americans have already made up their minds, Republicans need to reintroduce the dangers of socialism and Marxism to the public. We need to hearken back to the words of Reagan and Thatcher about the creeping assault of the government on working people and how the state is a direct threat to liberty.
The full power of centralized government. This was the very thing the Founding Fathers sought to minimize. They knew that governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people. And they know when a government sets out to do that, it must use force and coercion to achieve its purpose.
All Americans need to understand those ideologies, how to identify them when they see them, and what to do about them. The systemic nature of the threats that we face as a nation from these radical beliefs must be infused into the rhetoric of this campaign. Americans need to understand the linkages between that spreading cancer and what we see happening in this country today. This campaign isn't a campaign against Joe Biden. It is a campaign against the real threat to democracy, the left-wing socialism that has embedded itself into government, education, the media, and corporations. It is a campaign against Marxist-inspired movements in America and its real power to strip away the privacy and the personal and economic security of every American. George Soros is buying up 200 radio stations, folks. Marxists are infiltrating the libraries. Government-run schools are hubs for radical social engineering that aims to eliminate the family as a social unit. Cities and suburbs are going bankrupt over the costs of exploding welfare programs and paying off the unions who administer them. Even the churches are being vandalized and scandalized by left-wing ideology. Do we think that queer theory and the trans agenda achieving cult status are doing that by accident? No. It's an effort to diminish science, parental rights, traditional family structures, and biblical truth. Do we think that the open border is an accident? No. It is part of an effort to grow the unaccountable administrative state and diminish the value of citizenship. Do we think the irrational fear of impending climate change catastrophes that are repeatedly proven wrong are just innocent misjudgments? No. They are a deliberate technique to force people to submit to more government spending and regulation. Republicans need to stop with the Joe Biden is old and the border is broken talking points and create a broad-based movement to fight American socialism. That movement cannot be about one person or one label, but a sustained message drawing from facts and history about reclaiming the America that we once knew.